Tonight on the Agenda Setters, Mitch Cleary locked and loaded with a bombshell report of a move of a Victorian powerhouse club. The disgruntled Hawks at rival clubs are waiting and ready to pick off. And Luke Hodge questions Ross the boss. You don't want to miss it. It's time for the Agenda Setters. Thanks for your company and welcome into what is, I think, going to be a fiery edition of the Agenda Setters tonight. We've got a star-studded panel as always. The number one newsbreaker in football, Channel 7's chief football reporter is Mitch Cleary.
Good evening, Kane.
And Channel 7's primetime Friday night operator is Daisy Thomas. Daisy, great to have you back.
Good evening, Corn.
And the captain of the Victorian team for the Legends game, which is coming up. He's had a big day of media as Luke Hodge.
It's been a big day.
And I hope you're ready to go tonight. Hodgie, I know there's a lot on your agenda, but we'll start with you, Mitch, as always. Tell us about the move by a big Victorian club in relation to one of their home games.
The Tasmanian State Government wants Richmond to replace North Melbourne as the new club in Hobart over the next 2 seasons before the Devils arrive. Now, Richmond is still working through this prospect and will determine it over the next couple of months, but we know Richmond have got a couple of games each year at Marvel Stadium. Their fans just don't rock up. They averaged 21,000 over the last 5 games at Marvel Stadium. The proposal has the Tigers moving a game or two down to Hobart to fill the void before the Devils come in, because we know Hawthorn will play 4 games a season in Launceston for the foreseeable future. But when the North Melbourne Footy Club move their 2 games to Marvel from next year and get out of Tassie completely, there will be a void, a big hole down in Hobart. And the Tasmanian State Government want Richmond to fill that void.
What's a game worth at Marvel v what it's worth down to play at Tassie?
I would dare say they could make double or triple down in Tassie for what they make at a game in Marvel. Clubs have spoken in the past about 25,000, 30,000 being the break-even at Marvel Stadium, and Richmond barely touched that for their games. Their fans just don't rock up. This goes back to the Damien Hardwick days. We know Richmond have had a strong history down in the Apple Isle. You think Ian Stewart, Royce Hart, Matthew Richardson, Michael Roach, some of the legends of the Richmond Footy Club from the Apple Isle. The 2 biggest games ever attended down in Tassie both include Richmond. They've got history down there, and this is something the Tigers will work through in the next couple of years.
If you're making that decision, the fact they're not going to play finals over the next 3 or 4 years with all the young list and the turnover they've had, so why wouldn't you take them down there, make some money before let Tassie get a team down there?
Yeah, we know they're working through the new development of Punt Road Oval as well. This is not a cash-strapped club by any stretch. They'll find a way, but an extra $1 million or $2 million for your club to work through something like this will help. And we know the Tassie government want to spend up big because they want content down in Tassie before the Devils arrive. They can't have a gaping hole in the Hobart side of things for the next 2 years.
Richmond have a lot of support everywhere they go, but especially down in Tassie. I've seen it first.
Will their fans be happy?
Yeah.
They're pretty proud.
What do you think? If they were moving out of the MCG, I think there'd be uproar. But the fact that the Marvel game, the fans just don't rock up. You could get 17,000, 18,000 at Blunston Arena, at Ninja Stadium down there. No dramas with Richmond.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. It's just if it is the Marvel swap, it probably makes more sense, as you say. They don't like it. Dimmer said he hated it, and the fans agreed.
It's early as well. So Richmond are still working through this as a proposal. It's pretty early. In the election this week, a lot will come off the back of that, but it is something for them to weigh up over the next few months.
All right, we'll move on to the Blues. Interesting move to get them motivated. The bonding was back. Hodgie, they've been to the pub. They went off to the pub again. They've tried everything. So we're seeing it there. Carlton players gathered at a Brunswick pub in the aftermath of the defeat to the Lions. A bonding session, not for the first time this year, aiming to salvage something from their disastrous 2025 campaign. You two are ratbags. Do you like this move, or is it just one out of pure desperation? We've tried everything, now we're off to the pub.
Yeah, I think they've tried everything. I think that's the thing behind it. We tried it back in 2004 when
it worked?
We got beaten by Adelaide by Brisbane by about 80 points. So didn't work well. But as I said, when they go through a stage like this, they're under the pump. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt them. They're not going to play finals. If it's going to be something where they can get a little bit of bonding and a little bit of camaraderie from it, even a bit something to put a smile on their face, it's well worth trying up because what they're doing prior wasn't working.
You'd be all for it?
Yeah, I think there's a time and place for it. And generally, that's Friday or Saturday night most weekends, Corn. But the fact that it's round 19 and they've got 2 more wins than North Melbourne and Richmond, I think most Carlton fans and players probably should have been in the pub a lot earlier.
You'd love that.
You'd be a no-cane.
No, they serve water at the pub and salad.
I wouldn't be driving that, but not to say that we didn't do it. No, I wasn't one for drinking during the season.
You don't have to drink though. It's more bonding.
You go along, and it worked for some players. Like some players loved it. My brother was big for calling a lock-in at his house. Like we were struggling, fellas, just come over to my house, bring the beers, and we'll do it at home.
Did you take white drinks, or did you get them
take my soda water and just sit there until about 8 o'clock and then duck off, and they were happy that I'd gone, I think. But I'm okay with it. I mean, the season's done. It's buried. It's over. So I actually don't mind the fact that they're trying a few things.
Some forward planning to it.
Yeah.
And it would have been probably a recognition that this season hasn't gone to plan. But what are we going to do? And we heard Jacob Wiedering speak throughout the week as to if this is what we're in, the position we're in, let's salvage something and get some momentum into next year. So something has to change.
He's a believer in it. He's a massive believer.
Glad I didn't get an invite.
Big news with a disgruntled Hawk, Mitch. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so Cam Mackenzie picked 7 in the 2022 AFL draft. He's been in and out of the side this year. We know in the last 4 games he's been subbed out twice in those games. In between, he spent 3 weeks in the VFL. It's my understanding this has prompted conversation between his management and the Hawthorn List management group in the last 24 hours, where all the parties are up on the Gold Coast, the under-16 national championships, just probing as to where this guy's at. He's not getting a regular game right now, and they've got Will Day, one of their star-studded mids, not in the side at the moment. So what does the future hold for Cam Mackenzie? Kane, I know you've had high hopes for him in the past, but he's just not getting a regular game despite a couple of injuries in this side.
Well, I would absolutely be trying to inquire about this if I was another club. Like, I think he's got genuine AFL attributes that would make him a 200, 250 game player. You can see his numbers there. I think he's got good sideways movement. He can break a tackle. He uses it pretty well. He's clean. So for whatever reason, he has fallen out of favour repeatedly this year in a midfield that needs a bit more depth. And as you said, Will Day's coming back, but they're not stacked with midfielders. If there's one area of their game that they're struggling, it is in the midfield. So I don't know, if I'm Essendon, dare I say it, if I'm Geelong, if I'm Collingwood, to replenish their midfield with a bit of youth, I'd be absolutely inquiring about Cam Mackenzie.
What would you pass up for him? Because he is a player, he's a top 10 pick, as you said a couple of years ago.
He said he'd win the Brownlow this year.
I said he could win the Brownlow, Daisy. I said he could be a future, not this year, in time, a future Brownlow medalist. I've seen him get 30, he can get a lot of the footy, and he uses it pretty well.
But that's the thing, is him going back to playing Box Hill is about developing, about learning the game. So I still think Hawthorn have high hopes for him. They'll have to offer a lot to get him out of the Hawthorn colours.
I understand Sam Mitchell's a big fan. They just think
he looks exactly the same as when Mitch got drafted. They move the exact same. How they kick. Blonde hair as well.
There is a selection squeeze on the Hawks, Hodgie, because right now the half-back line, it's hard to get a spot. You know, we've seen Jack Scrimshaw the last 2 weeks kept out of the VFL. I understand Chankworth Jath's spot is up on the line this week as to whether he'll keep his spot. Where do you see this? Because I think 8 or 9 can't go into the back 6 or 7 right now, and there will be spots up for grabs.
I think that's the big one, because they've had, obviously, Barras Battle come in. You've got Weddle, who can play anywhere, but they like him across the half-back line. Sicily, then you've got Impey, Amon playing excellent footy. That leaves a CJ along the line. So there is going to be a bit of a squeeze, unless they can push him up and play along the wing or other positions like that, but there will be a squeeze.
This is good. This is a good thing for a football club. If you've got selection pressure, and that means more selection integrity, and if you have to be in your very best form to play in our side, I think it's a real positive. I don't think we should be looking at in any way negative. You've got to earn your spot, and you've got to stay and play well to keep it.
So Cam Mackenzie might be a target, but there's some other Hawks as well. We've spoken about that a couple of times this year on the program. So when they got Barras and Battle, and then when they were also in the Oscar Allen race, you're going, well, if you're Mitch Lewis, you're going, sort of, where do I fit in? And there's so many teams out there that could use a power forward, understand his body and his issues, but there's some other potential targets for other clubs. Mitch, how do you see it?
Well, Ned Reeves would probably be the best backup ruckman in the competition, along with probably Darcy Ford at the moment. So I'm sure clubs will continue to have a look at someone like him. And then Ramsden, does he get his spot back now with Lewis and Deer playing good footy along with Chol as well? So I think there are players up for grabs. And you go to the top of that list, James Warple as well. Free agent, he's been offered a handy contract at the Hawks. I wouldn't say it's strong by any stretch, so there will be clubs having a look at him.
If you look at teams who need that in and under midfielder, you look at how good Port has been. You've got a Boak in there who's coming to the end. You've got a Wines who was a Brownlow medalist, but it's also coming probably to the end of his career. Is that something that they would look to get into, considering you got a Rosie, a Butters, a Horn Francis that are all burst speed players?
Do you think Warple could fit at Port?
I'm thinking he's that in and under bull midfielder that they might need, considering all the other blokes are flary. You need that constant bloke who can sit in there and win the contest time and time again.
Have the Hawks been pushing for Zach Butters?
Absolutely. Throw Harley Reid into that conversation.
It's a bit of a swap. Daisy called it there.
If you're talking about Port Adelaide needing something and they think they're going to be losing something, there's trading potential. So
Yeah,
it's
look,
obviously not
there's-
going to be like for like, and you're going to have to include picks or
If,
whatever.
if you
it may
talk
be.
about CJ or Scrimshaw across the half back line, would Carlton be interested in the CJ's run, a bit of dash creativity off the half back line?
I think he'd be perfect. He's almost what Adam Sard was a couple of years ago before he's been asked to play a bit more lockdown.
You mentioned Harley Reid. You've been very defensive, as you often are, of the
supportive.
of current
There's
players.
defensive and there's
Are
supportive.
you now wavering on what you're seeing from Harley? 5 free kicks against, most free kicks in the comp. Nearly could have potentially broken Travis Boak's leg with the errant foot that cost him a fine at the tribunal and lucky not to be suspended. Are you concerned about the lack of discipline in his game, Daisy?
The silly free kicks, I'm concerned about. That's a brain fart. He shouldn't have done that, and I think we all agree. that-
$10,000 fine he got for that.
Yeah, and he's giving away a lot of his own cash. When he went up to Horn Francis and started having a go, he's a young kid who plays with a whole heap of passion. He's sticking up for his football club. You can tell that he cares. Some of it's dumb, it's immature, grant you that. And we don't want to see the tripping. That's just costing him and causing potential injury. But outside of that, I love everything that he's doing. He's learning.
You can't love the free kick numbers, and you can't love giving free kicks at stoppage. There's the numbers there.
So would you rather him play passive and not give away free kicks and run around and
No, I
just
think
be a part of
giving
it?
away a free kick when your sole focus is the footy, and and you're giving it away in the action of trying to win the footy, but off the ball stuff, giving it to the crowd, giving it to your opposition players, and then falling asleep at stoppage, getting goals kicked against you, coughing the footy
that's
up.
all a part about the learning
I
phase.
understand, but this is my point. They've taken too long to pull him back into line.
Mate, he's 20.
Yeah.
Mate, he could play for another 15 years.
What other 20-year-olds do you see doing
What
that?
other 20-year-olds are getting tagged? What other 20-year-olds are the enforcer
didn't
in
get
their
tagged
football
on the
club?
20-year-olds are the face of their
he's
club.
the enforcer
Yeah.
because there's no one else around there to him. So what I'm saying, I'd prefer, as Daisy said, I'd prefer him to be physical but over the top. The kicking one, no, I reckon that should have been a week for it. But everything else, by him standing up, at least they know there's going to be a fight. You come up against Harley Reid in the coming years, he'll cross the line to let you know that he's going to be up for a big battle, and because he's a physical boy. He will mature in time and settle. It's not hurting him now. If they're on the verge of finals, 100%, he's just setting the tone for what he expects and what he knows opposition players are going to come at him for.
So his coaches now
His
had
coach
enough.
would have been talking about the kick that should have been a
And if
suspended.
his coaches
Yeah,
said
and
it
the free
publicly,
kicks.
though, we
Yeah,
all know
yeah.
what coaches say publicly is
Yeah.
a sweetener to...
I think you two have been a little bit soft, and I think you're saying that
No,
age is the excuse. I don't see any other 20. I don't see Sheasel doing it. I don't see the other young
He
guns
hasn't
in
had
the
the
game.
intimidation. He's got other blokes around him.
At North.
So we
Sheasel.
Yeah,
They haven't won many more games
No
than
one has
West
gone
Coast.
at him like they're going Harley Reid. No one has gone at Sheasel.
I don't
apart
think
from
that's
you,
an excuse,
Then
though.
there's
No,
gone
I don't
like
think
at
that's
Harley
an
Reid.
excuse.
Sheasel doesn't give away free kicks, he just goes and gets the footy, and you're
Yeah.
critical of him for that.
Yeah, well,
You
the
coined
way
some
that
phrase.
the way that he was playing, but in terms of the
you're
way that
picking
he's
an
acting,
argument,
and
and that's
52
where
free kicks against,
his-
and now his coach has had enough.
His coach
he's
had
tripping,
enough
he's coughing
of
the
that
footy
tripping
up.
over because that was dangerous, that was silly, and that should have been a week suspension.
Yeah, I think he would have had
100%.
enough of the 52
The rest
free
of
kicks.
it is a part of him and his maturity, and him being the person who has to stand up for himself because there's no one else there. You had people to stand up for you. I had people to stand up for you. You're a smart aleck. You definitely would have had people to stand up for you. He's got no one.
Yeah, he's
So
not the
doing it
first
for
young
himself.
player to go to a poor club. Mainly
It's not a
the
poor
num-
club.
the
It's a
number
club that
one-
have no senior players.
Yeah,
You're
but
going to
the
go and
number
throw the
one
body
pick
for 'em.
often goes to the lowest club who there isn't a
Yeah,
whole
I
lot
was a
of
number one
support.
pick.
Yeah,
I went there. I
understand.
had some bulls around to look after me.
Yeah.
He's got no one.
He's been let down by the Eagles. You got Elliot Yeo, hasn't played a game this year, got given a 3-year contract. His body's let him down again. Jack Graham is serving a 4-match ban for a homophobic slur. And then on the weekend, Tim Kelly's dropped
So how long
2
can
months
we,
after signing
so
a 2-year
Mitch,
deal.
how long can we give him the grace? Is it not till he's 22? Is it 23? Like, what's the right age? Or is it not till they get 5 players
on that
around
side of
him?
things,
Or
I'm with you on this one. Like some of the acts we've seen, like he shouldn't be doing that. But there's not enough presence around him right now.
So you let me know when we can start being a little bit more
No, you can be
demanding
critical.
of him.
You can be
but
critical,
I think
but
you've got to have a good understanding as well of what he's doing, why he's doing it. Don't be just so hard to jump on a young kid.
Yeah, I'm not jumping. I'm jumping on him for the off-the-ball, undisciplined stuff that he's costing his team. Really costing his team.
They're sitting bottom of the ladder on 4 games. I'd prefer him be doing that than sitting back playing softball, going, oh, run past and beat us by 120.
Okay, let's look at their contracts because they haven't played it that smartly with this, Mitch. Jake Waterman and the players, Elliot Yeo, and in particular Tim Kelly, that they've extended contracts for, and 2 of those don't even play.
Well, Tim Kelly was a strange one for me. I don't know why they needed to go 2 years when they could have easily offered him 1. He was dropped a couple of months after they gave him 2 years. A 1-year deal, in my eyes, would have easily worked out there. Elliot Yeo, the market pressures there were suggesting he needed 3, but again, I don't know why he needed to go 2. And Jake Waterman had a contract.
But that was out of good faith, Avery.
It was good faith.
And so they should.
And they've
He
got
took
cap room.
unders. He was their best player by a mile.
Yeah.
And out of good faith, they said, yes, you lived up to your end of the bargain, we'll do ours. I've got no issue with that.
The Elliott Yeo one was all because of the reason we spoke about. They jumped at that because there was talk he was going to go back to Adelaide. They jumped at Shadows because they needed to protect Harley Reid. And unfortunately for that, he's gone and been injured, hasn't been able to do it. But that's the reason why they jumped at that one.
Yeah, an interested onlooker at Essendon training.
Yeah, so this is Sam Walker, leadership expert and culture consultant with the LA Rams. He's spending a week with the Bombers. He's shadowing Brad Scott, access all areas at the Bombers. He was in the box last week for the Richmond game. Wouldn't have loved what he saw there. And then you'll see him this Thursday for the Giants game at Marvel Stadium. So he struck up a friendship and relationship with Brad Scott, Zach Merritt and Andy McGrath dating back to last pre-season. They've invited him over to the Bombers. Come in, let us know what you're seeing, and hopefully some improvements can be made out of that.
Is he a handy half forward?
He might need to pull in the boots this week.
Leadership, half forward flanker.
13th debutant this week, equal most in AFL history. Liam McMahon will pull in the boots with Nate Caddy to be rested.
Incredible.
Plenty more to come on the agenda setters. Stick around for the stocks. These two clowns up at the Players' Miss shortly. And coaches complaining. I've got them firmly in my sights on the other side of this. You're watching the agenda setters.
They say it's all been done, but they haven't seen the best of me. So I got one.
Yeah, well, that's 17 tackles and got tagged, didn't he? So, look, there were some instances, and no, I'm not even going to say it actually. But once again, I probably thought he probably could have got a bit more protection. But every AFL coach will come up here and say that about their ball winners.
So that was Damien Hardwick prior to the Friday night game against Collingwood. And surprise, surprise, the umpires looked after Matt Rowell with 7 free kicks, 2 of those resulting in goals when they won the game by 6 points. How is it as a game that we can be so influenced to, I guess, influence the result of a game just by a coach speaking midweek about a player that they think is getting harshly treated? So here's some of these free kicks, the ones that he weren't getting prior to Damien Hardwick complaining about it. There's another one. Look, there were 7 of them, so it's going to go for a while, this little package. But some of these are just standard operation from a stoppage. The umpire's clearly influenced by Damien Hardwick's comments. Some of them are there, but like Scott Pendlebury there. So that results in a goal. The game is lost by 6 points, and that can influence the result. Now, if I'm a coach, Hodgie, he didn't even know.
He didn't even know
that was a free kick. So he's smart. Like, this isn't a criticism of Damien Hardwick. I just think this is outstanding coaching. It may be the difference between his team finishing in the finals or top 4 and not. But if I'm a coach and I feel like one of my players has been harshly treated, like Chris Fagan, get up there and complain about Neil or McCluggage. Do the same if you're Chris Scott with Bailey and Holmes. All the coaches, it is a free-for-all to whinge as much as you want because you know the game is going to be influenced so much by your comments.
He gave 5 away.
Yeah.
7-5.
Gee whiz. The ones that he was not getting just because that Damien Hardwick put that on the agenda. I can't believe that you would be as influenced as that.
Is there a level you can do it? Like, can you go every second week or once a month, or you just
I
think
do it all
it
the
should be a
time.
free for all?
They need to save it up because that's where the umpires. We used to have our club go to them and say, "Look, he's holding me this and that." And as long as you mention it to the umpires out there, it will trigger them. But if you go every week, they won't do it. So if I was Dimmer, I'd be holding off to just before the finals in the finals.
What did you make of Bob East's comments?
Well, he's become quite brash. This is almost the most brash side of the Suns we've seen since Tony Cochrane left. Bob East flew to Milan to sit down with Damien Hardwick and win his signature to move to the Gold Coast Suns, and he delivered this insight into their off-field on the weekend.
From a comms strategy point of view, there's a number of us that will, readily step up and speak up for our club. But it's got to be strategic. There are times when you do need to thump the table, and the Gold Coast community would like us to be extremely vocal on certain issues.
Quite interesting. They're not going to sit back. They want to be pretty brash and on the front foot with all things AFL. We've seen it from Damien Hardwick and now the president.
It's fine when you back it up with your performance.
And that's when it's had to wait till. They've got to a point now where they can actually do that because the performances we saw on Friday night is worth talking about.
And you've noticed it.
Yeah, well, they did back it up. That was the best part about it. But the thing I noticed is we spoke here last week about what they needed to do, and then it was about not getting, I guess, overawed by Collingwood's pressure, lowering your vision and hitting up. So at least there you could see him lower the vision to 2. 2 could then play football. What's in front of me? Do I have to go fast? Do I have to go slow? He saw one-on-one, so they decided to go quick. That's what they did consistently in that first half. No wonder why they went away and had such a big lead. In the second half, Collingwood kicked a few goals. This is what they did. Look, they didn't probe through the zone. If he hits that one, if Noble goes into Joel, hits that one. Next thing they bypass, get it out the open side. What they did in the pressure situation is they fell into a little bit of the Collingwood web, was satisfied to go long down the line. All of a sudden, Collingwood's pressure picks himself back up, and then they're back in the game. So that's a learning curve they need to go. But the next phase that I saw was how important Touk Miller is for the Gold Coast Suns. You look at his offence, and I know I joked about it last week when you said about he's able to run and create options, but this is the work ethic that we know from Touk. He's there to ready to defend, but as soon as he realises the ball's out of the back, he's a part of that offence. In the first half, he had a lot of impact. He set the goal up, and that's all good and well, and that's what we know from him. What caught my eye, and it's almost like he's almost like the Pendlebury of Gold Coast. He gets in, he gets the clearance out, straight to his feet, running inside forward 50. Let's swing behind the goals. Moore is about to mark this here. Most players are sitting back watching. Before Moore takes the mark, he's already identified where the players are that they're going to transition. This is how Collingwood is so good. All of a sudden, he's covering two players. He's calling his mids from behind to squeeze up. Next thing, Moore looks in the middle. All their players are covered, and there's a boundary throw in over the other side, all because he's smart, he's quick, and he talks to his teammates and sets them up. So he's almost the Pendlebury of Gold Coast. And this was him when he was on the ground. 11 disposals, third at Suns, 4 scoring involvements. He did it all. But the other part was the with and without. Contested possessions, they were plus 13. Without him, they were minus 10. Inside 50s, they were plus 11. Without him, they were minus 21. And look at the score difference. So this is a big blow for the Suns, knowing how important he is offensively, defensively, and the leader on the footy field. They need someone to step up and fill the void for such an important player.
He was awesome, but their Suns and their complete offence was something that I really enjoyed, bringing something different that we haven't seen from other sides. This diagonal run. So as soon as they turn the ball over, look at the offside run. So a lot of sides will head straight back towards goal or laterally across the field. This sort of diagonal run means when you're a pressing defence like Collingwood, you don't really know where the next man is. They come usually in a horseshoe shape, which means they always have the last defender. This lateral run meant that they got forwards inside forward 50, and in the end it's a 2v1 25 metres out. We saw this not just from deep in defensive 50. This one's a turnover, so higher up the ground, but look at the effect. Still, the widest players take off 45 degrees, which opens up the corridor to move the ball, but also as those defenders, you can see Darcy Moore now, he starts to retract and come back. Want to go forward, we're not really sure who to, where's the spares. In doing so, you find that. This was the match-winning play. We've highlighted what Anderson did, but the role that Matty Rowell had here on Scotty Pendlebury, just engaging him. You know where you're going to hit it from a set play, but making sure the space is there and free is one thing. That's been given a bit. But this is Ethan Reid. Look at his smarts here. Hit up, no, the ball's not coming. I'll draw Darcy Moore back and look at the space. Darcy Moore doesn't press out because he doesn't know if his man's going to get the Joe the Goose. Nice finish from the captain. That's a well-executed plan in a critical stage by a young side.
Great vision, you two, and outstanding editing from our crew out the back. Absolutely all over it now. Unfiltered has been on fire. Big guests, big names everywhere. And Jeremy Howe sits down with Hamish McLaughlin tomorrow night and relives his horror injury.
The moment where I go upside down, I heard the snap before I hit the deck.
Howe comes at him and a thumping collision. Stengel felt that. This is not good. What we can tell you is that Jeremy Howe has broken his arm.
Bruzzy comes over, and he comes over to come and pick me up, and then he's like, oh. And I was like, what? And I looked down, and my forearm's facing the bench.
Is it true Braden Maynard says to the other players,
don't go over there? Yeah. I've got a photo where the whole teams are standing around and supporting me. And I felt that, which was unbelievable. And then I heard Jessica Cameron walk over. He's like, "You'll be right. You're a tough prick. You'll be right."
Incredible insight, one not to be missed tomorrow. He broke his arm in 4 places. Can't wait to hear his side of the tale tomorrow. Now, he will miss at least a week with this groin injury. Still no formal contract offer from the Pies. So I think if I was North Melbourne, they've missed on Nathan Broad, they've missed on Braden Maynard. I think he would be the perfect guy to go and nurture some of these young defenders. We've seen Will Dawson, you've been big on in the last couple of months. Charlie Comben's still finding his feet. To go and partner up as that third tall in defence for a year or two at North Melbourne, because still to this point, yet to receive an offer from Collingwood.
Right. Are they keen to keep him?
They are keen to a level, but there's still nothing formal yet. So I think that's going to be thrashed out over the next 2 or 3 weeks.
All right, Hodgie, you've been keeping a close eye on the Saints. I don't think you've liked what you've seen.
No, it caught my eye last night when you raised it to Nick and just sort of said, what's going on? The standards probably haven't been to what we expected when they put Ross in. And Nick was pretty calm, which was surprised me, considering Nick a few years ago had a bit of a go at Brett Ratten and the subpar standards that they had there. And obviously Rats had the funny comeback. We only saw him when he had free free physio. But you sort of look through, and I thought we'd have a bit of a look at the ladder when Rats was there. So Rats first year in got 6th and then finished 10th, and then when Ross took it over was the same thing. They've made the finals and then dropped round. And if you look at the ladder positions now, they're sitting 15th on the ladder. When Nick said 3 years ago, there were subpar standards that come through. But look who they're around on the ladder. So you got just above them, we've got Essendon. We know the injuries that Essendon have had throughout the year. They're sitting higher on the ladder than St Kilda. It's only half a game. Half a game below them is North Melbourne.
So you think Revolt's been soft on St Kilda?
Well, I actually thought you were going to have a red-hot crack at him last night, because the way you sort of threw it to him and then he went real calm. What's your opinion on how St Kilda have been?
My opinion is that they have under-delivered on what they thought they were going to get when they brought Ross in. They said that they had a list that was capable of doing more than what Brett Ratten is. Now, they've clearly changed their language since then.
They haven't done it publicly,
but every club has spokespeople in the media.
Yes.
So St Kilda have thankfully got the little mafia that they roll out with Nick on here. They've got Lee Montagna on it, Nick Del Santo on other platforms as well.
Do you think Hawthorn's performance backs up the
but like everyone has somebody.
Do you think that because Ross has so many friends in the media, and there's others, not just former players, that we go soft on him? Is that what you're saying? You've come here, you've raised it, you've got the numbers. Do you think the industry is soft on Ross?
I thought Nick would have went a lot harder at Ross. The fact that he was going at Brett Ratten when they were sitting 10th. We've got some vision here from the weekend. They're playing Sydney. And Nick said last night they came up, it was a really close effort. It was good. Sydney are on the chart. Look at here, you got Lloyd here. Lloyd's played quite a few games. We know that Ibrani's creative, he's a smart player. No one cared about him. There's a pushing and shoving in the first quarter that shows, are you really switched on? They lost by under a goal. All of a sudden, you come back, they fought back, they hit the front. They're in front of this. You've got 2 young kids off the back. Who are the guys that are talking to them, understanding, squeeze up? Because do you know what? If I was playing against Errol Goulden and I was a man, I'll be saying, watch his left foot, watch his left foot. First of all, Sinclair's man on the wrong side. They've got 2 blokes behind the stoppage that haven't squeezed up. If they're talking 3 years ago
so
about...
that's on the coach?
That's on the coach, that's on the senior players there. The subpar performances that were 3 years ago, but then you look at, since they've come in under Rats, under Line, there's not much that changed. But the same thing is, where's the big uproar in the media that are saying, they're subpar, the Ratten needs to go? Does he intimidate too many of the blokes in there who used to coach, because they're not following through and they're not saying the same thing? They might be passionate about St Kilda when they want to be, but they're clearly not coming out and saying it now.
You don't buy the excuses, which I've been critical of Ross, and the mentions of youth and how many times he's mentioned we are young. You're not giving him an out because of that.
I understand there's King, but Ratten had the same list. Like they've changed a few over time, but I'm just sort of sitting here going, we came in thinking Ross, and they said from their own mouth, they said we have a list that should be better than where we really are. So yes, they overpromised, but we're sitting back, we haven't heard anything back say, we're now changed, we're going to go through a rebuild. They've just tried to smoothly go through and do it the way they want, but there's been no feedback when Brett Ratten 3 years ago was copping it from left, right and centre from all their former players. Ross used to coach.
For what it's worth, I agree with you. I think Ross has a lot of friends in the media. I think he makes a lot of excuses, and I think a lot of people go easier on Ross than some other coaches. And I've said as much publicly.
We had a bit of a go at Clarko early in the year. He's half a game, and they went through a rebuild with bringing blokes in, trying to get better, and they've been down the bottom for a long time. They're half a game.
I want to speak about some small forwards, because clearly it is a giant weapon of that team, the Giants. Adam Kingsley spoke about it at halftime against Geelong.
We started taking a bit more territory and put them under a little bit more pressure, and we feel like our small forwards particularly trouble them. They trouble everyone, we feel like, and they were able to get to work through that sort of change of game plan.
So here they do. It's been a strength of theirs for a long time. There's that man, Darcy Jones, who everyone is now recognising is an absolute weapon in the game. Brent Daniels is another one not playing at the moment, but they've invested heavily in these small forwards. And I just think now the way that the football is played, if you don't have them, you're in all sorts of trouble. And I think the successful teams in recent times, as Adam Kingsley has clearly identified, have not one, not two, usually three, sometimes four. We know about Toby Green's been doing it for a long, long period of time. I wanted to take a look at the last 3 premiers and the crop of small forwards that they've had. You could chuck in Lohmann for Brisbane as well, who had a big grand final. We know what Collingwood did with Bobby Hill winning the Norm Smith, and the recruitment of Ginnivan, Jamie Elliott and the Cats back in 2022. So I guarantee you the team that wins this year's premiership will have a good group of small forwards. And if you don't, like Carlton, go and find some, and go and find some quickly.
And a club like Carlton have rolled through 6 or 7. None of them are A graders. So you've got that list there. There's at least an A grader on each of on each of those lines.
All right, let's continue our Survivor game that we've played all year here. These are the list is getting bigger.
How is it getting bigger?
Some players have now played enough football and been involved in enough contests that they've qualified for Survivor. 10 is the number. So we see that your man Bruzzy Maynard's in there, Ridley's in there, Mitch Hinge from Adelaide.
My man Michael Annie.
My man Michael Annie is still there. He's my tip to win it. So we'll play that with still a little bit of football left to play.
How did Jake Lever get dropped if he's on that list?
No idea.
Can we push over there? Sam Baconi, 23 that he hasn't lost. That's a fair effort, considering the ball's down there a bit and he's a young kid.
And he hasn't played for a while as well. All right, it is time now for our favourite moment of the week. It is the stocks.
It certainly is, Corn. And Hodgie, as always, you've demanded the new ball, so you get to start us off. What would you be buying tonight?
I want ferocious Hawks. I want the unsociable Hawks. That's what I want because they're playing Port Adelaide. A bit of old school. They're bringing it back. They played Port Adelaide in the final last year.
Smash.
Guess what? They bullied him, Kane. They went after him. And at Gather Round this year, Port Adelaide hunted Hawthorn. They went after Sicily. They went there. You got all the big boys going in there. Pel Pepper, he won't be there. But then you've got the other guys. They intimidated Hawthorn. Hawthorn were going in there with good form. They thought, we're just going to go and focus on the football. Nah, not against Port Adelaide. These are two clubs that hate each other. Look, if you're near the fence...
This week, what are you saying?
This is what we're saying. Sam Mitchell, go out there, put the gloves on, go hard at Port Adelaide because you know what it's going to become a few. Yes, they've got a few senior players out, but they need to be physical. Ferocious Hawks down at Tassie on Saturday.
Oh, I love that. Put the jumper back on my man. He would get it done. I'm buying the man Greg Swan. This is his last week, the Swan song, if you will, up at the Gabba Friday night. He walks out, chaired off.
Wants a lap of 1 or 2.
And he will get one. He'll be driven around because at his own admission, he probably wouldn't walk that lap. But he's one of the all-time great administrators. He's done everything in the game. And now he goes to the AFL with a lot to do, but he's certainly the right man. I can't wait to see him in the role because common sense that isn't that common will come in spades from that man.
He's an absolute... I'd normally sell this, but I'm holding because they're both rippers. Key forwards in their ego. Look at this. On the weekend, I'm watching premiership players. Look at this. Go for a handshake. Shake my hand. They were premiership teammates. John O'Brien sits there and goes, you're a little fly. Off you go. We've got the big dogs. We've got Lee. We've got the centre forward. We've got the full forward. You're just a little back pocket tagger. No. Off you go. Arrogance. How about the ego, the key forwards?
I love it, John. I know your old fly. Go and get the pill and make him look good. I'm holding Freo. Now, you were big on them and what they were going to bring last week against the Hawks. They had to do it. And these are the numbers. We've all talked about it. Like a street fight, we've heard 100-plus tackles. Really good numbers. But they've had a really good block. Won 7 of their last 8 since round 10. Have a look at these numbers, though. That is the real outlier. Plus 25 there in your tackles, and you've lost the rest. So there's the recipe, but I'm just not sure that is 100% their game plan at the minute, or if they're just sort of winging it on the fly at the moment. So wait and see with that. Sally, I'm going first. Okay.
You're going first.
Well, we heard it tonight. Adam Chera, $5,500 fine. Still not sure how Lachie Neale isn't paying this. Ready? You get pushed into an umpire you can't see, you're walking backwards, and you go to the tribunal.
4 in 2 years.
4 in 2 years. I'm not sure what the other 3 were, but that one there is ridiculous. So a bit to do, but I don't know why did I go first?
Because I'm finished off with a big one. I'm selling home jibs. Blokes who thinks they're big. Blokes who thinks that, hey, I've got a good rig. And then you go on TV to show people your home gym. Listen to this.
It's a bench press. You've never done bench press, Kane.
There it is. We'll shoot some hoops. It's just a bit of a makeshift setup. It's not, it's not the best. But
I'm trying to work out. I just punch got 90 kilos on there.
Benchies and some...
90 kilos. Absolutely kidding. I did see the Revel sauna out the back.
That's a good sauna.
What it is,
that is a very good sauna.
That was the weight. That was the weight that he was doing. These were his bench press. Here you go, Kane. That's about the weight that you had on those benches. So if you're going to put it on there, at least put some decent weights on the outside of it.
Prepared.
Very good Revel sauna. The spill is up next. Corn, you get ready for that.
We'll be back after this. Time now for the Virgin Australia Mark of the Year contenders. Darcy Moore getting up nice and high. Having a pretty good patch of form, that man, the Collingwood skipper. Hodgie?
And Josh Tracy's been an absolute star. Another big hanger over the top of CJ. Hasn't he been consistent for such a young player?
Hard and tough he is. Can't believe he's 22. And this is the pick of the bunch. Mitch Georgiades, wet prune, up and over you go. Thank you very much. off and gone.
If you want to vote on that for your chance to win $5,000 worth of cold hard cash, do that. afl.com.au/mark of the year. Some ripping marks this year, all thanks to Virgin. As we get into the spill, brought to you by Better. That is better. And one to you, Hodgie, first up tonight. James Sicily is on the verge of a VFL stint.
But that's ridiculous.
Well,
Sicily's been out
you wrote the question.
Sicily,
you asked me to ask
Sicily has been out for about a month, and he's come back and he made 3 mistakes on the. And of course, this is what you did. You go and highlight the 3 mistakes.
You asked me to ask you this.
He had 21 touches. He had 3 errors. So what'd you do? You went in there and you found 3 errors. Yet they don't look great.
Oh.
But he was back. He did a few things on the weekend which looked like Sis was finally had a little bit of touch. He had 3 or 4 of the intercept marks, which he wasn't doing beforehand because of his groins. So I reckon that is laughable. No VFL stint for him. Within 3 weeks, he'll be back to his best.
Corn, the Eagles have found the replacement for Jeremy McGovern.
Well, you've been watching because you were watching this awful game on Sunday between Port Adelaide and the Eagles. And that man, Harry Edwards, have about his numbers since round 12. 4th in the comp for intercept possessions, 2nd for intercept marks. He took 8 on the weekend. The record is 10 and his ranking is high. So I loved his game. I thought he was really strong in the air, rock solid with footy in hand. And I think he's emerging as a player that we should start to be speaking a little bit more about. And if you're the Eagles, you're going, well, we're now starting to get some key position players in place. So I was thrilled with his game.
Hodgie, Richmond's rebuild has them the most exciting team in the bottom 6 right now.
Yeah, what do you think, Daisy?
Yeah, well, don't ask Hodgie, ask me,
Sorry,
Mitch.
Daisy.
But that's completely fine because I like it. I like where you're going with this one. And the fact that Taj Houghton got to play on the weekend. We all know what skill this kid has and was going to have. Had to spend some time in the VFL, only a short little stint. He slid his way down to pick 12 in the draft because he did an ACL in his top age year. He's going to be something that the Tigers fans are going to really like, and you put him alongside Lawler as well, and he's got some skills.
Well, Daisy, that was exactly what I was about to say about the Tigers. But what I do is, Mitch, the D's have some big off-season calls at the end of the season.
I think they're the most fascinating off-season ahead, Hodgie, because Simon Goodwin has put it on the record saying this is a team in transition. They've got good players under 24 and they've got a lot of players at the top end coming towards the end of their career. Bailey Fritsch is a fascinating one for me. Kicked 6 goals in a grand final. I reckon there's a market for a player like Bailey Fritsch. So too Clayton Oliver. What happens with Christian Matraka? These aren't just middle-tier players. These are premiership players, so a big off-season ahead for the
One
D's.
word, will Fritsch be there, yes or no?
No.
And you think Melbourne's more interesting than Carlton in the off-season?
Yes, because they've got big-name players on big contracts. So do Carlton. But I think the Melbourne ones are maybe more up for grabs.
All right, Daisy, to you. There's still some debate about who the best Dacos is, surely not?
Not within the Dacos household. That's clearly Peter thinking it's Peter. But brother of Nick, Josh, the man that we've seen across half-back, the last quarter that he put together when thrown through the midfield, Nick getting sat on, he put up 16 disposals, 5 tackles, 2 goals, 10 contested possessions, 1 goal assist, 6 score involvements and 4 clearances.
Keep him there or move him back?
Move him back, but just keep it ready just in case. Break glass in case of emergency. What a luxury to have. But he's a star of that family. My goodness.
I'll get this one right. Kane, there's a power forward that's still a secret weapon.
Well, I don't know if he's a secret, but I think the season that he is having is still underrated. When you look at this man's numbers with the team that he's playing in and the missing pieces next to him, he's essentially should be a third tall forward, but he's been the main man and it's been unbelievable the season that he's had. 2nd in the Coleman, numbers off the charts. Mitch Georgiades well and truly in the frame for All-Australian selection, I would assume.
Mitch, the AFL have to adopt the flexible schedule model.
Well, last night Hutchie said they should do it in 2 weeks. I think that's a little bit thin, given the NFL do it in 12 days late in the season, maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks. But there's a game in round 23 that stands out, Daisy, like a sore thumb. Crows and Collingwood on a Saturday night. Get it into the Friday night. You'll need a bit of massaging into round 22, given the day's fixture break. I think there's enough time to still get that one in. That is going to be an absolute blockbuster. Get it in the prime time stage.
I love that. Now we're finishing off with you, Hodgie. You have the next pick and you're going to announce what's in your legend side. It should be the man next to me, Mitch Cleary in a forward pocket.
Yes.
Are you available, Mitch? Put your hand up.
I have to check the calendar.
Well, we're going, if they can go and get Kane Corns, we need someone, a hitman, to go and get Kane. So you're up
I'll
for the
run
job?
back into a hole in front of Kane.
He's not intimidated.
I'll look after you, Mitch. Don't worry about that. Still plenty more coming up on the agenda setters. Mitch Cleary has the conference and we're talking grudge matches. There's a big one on the weekend. Tough plays of the weekend thanks to Duro Tuss. Big collision here. 2 players going hard at it. Look at that. Long and Dacos, it doesn't get any better than that on a Friday night. High stakes and courage from both players. An unbelievable collision. Thankfully, everyone was A-OK thanks to Duro Tuss, the tough plays of the week. We're going to talk about grudge matches. There's one happening on Sunday. Mitch Cleary with the conference. Riley Thilthorpe spoke about his with Mac Andrew yesterday.
I think it's just footy. It comes with it. I think he's a very fiery bloke and that's just how he plays his game on edge.
Very civil from Riley Thilthorpe. I think it's going to be on for young and old this weekend. This was earlier in the season up there in Gold Coast, Hodgie. It was on for young and old back then. Mac Andrew having some words with Riley Thilthorpe. Even though he played it down at the press conference yesterday, I reckon he'll have a long memory when it comes to this one from the start of the season. I want to take you guys into your own grudge matches. Hodgie, you would have had a few fiery moments on the footy field. What's it like backing up round 2?
It was always awkward. First thing goes the line in the sand for me. We had a fairly big altercation with that one. I was a young kid. We backed up again a few years later when Lloydie ran through Sawley. So us and Essendon always had some big ones. The supporters hated each other, the players hated each other, but it always got you up for the contest.
Kane?
Well, the dream final in 2005 was a word that my brother used just ahead of... We just qualified for finals in 05. We were playing North Melbourne, and if we were to beat North Melbourne, we were set to play Adelaide if they'd lost their qualifying final. We said, we're not scared of Adelaide one bit. I just love the chance to meet them again because I lost that bit, but it didn't work out that well.
Just point to the scoreboard.
For us. So this was the dream final, and you can see the result. So it wasn't so dreamy.
Did anyone address this with him?
You should have seen the build. You should have seen the build up to this after he'd said that. Dream final was plastered all over the advertiser, and it wasn't the best. There it is. I just love the chance to meet them again because the only thing that let us down last time was our skill errors, and we had some great players that didn't play that game. It would be our dream to meet them in a final. 2005, you can see the date there in August.
A long receipt.
How long does it take after that before you start going out for a coffee and showing your face around town?
15 years ago. I think he caught the next plane out to Bali or somewhere.
Daisy, have you got one for us, grudge match style?
Nothing that sort of spikes peak interest.
Your first game against your old club?
Yeah, well, that wasn't really a grudge match. I just got booed by both sides for 2 hours gone.
All right, that was the conference with Mitch Cleary and grudge matches. Not sure who's got the swipe next, but hopefully you two have got it under control. We'll do that on the other side. You're watching The Agenda Setters. Thanks for your company. The 4 and 20 Legends game is back August the 28th at Marvel Stadium. You can be there or you can watch it live and free on Channel 7. There's our man, the skipper of the Vicks with Tim Watson, the coach. Shane Crawford will coach the All-Stars, and our very own Nick Riewoldt, the captain of the All-Stars. Confirmed Cyril for the All-Stars and Gaz for your Vicks.
Gaz was first pick for us, and then they pulled out Cyril, and I've gone, oh crap.
And then you've gone Mitch Cleary.
That's what I think.
Sorry, Mitch, but
Coach Tim goes, you might have to pick up Cyril in the goal square. So I'm a little bit panicked there. Might have to do some agility work and look after the calves.
It's a great idea.
You should play.
I've got other stuff on. Kane, are you going to play?
Well, I haven't been asked, so
you're going to get asked. So the answer is yes. Great. Hutchie, of course, will be delighted to hear that because he is the mastermind behind this. It's going to be fantastic. A lot of money to be raised for prostate cancer. But if you go way back when, there was always going to be an opportunity for this.
Do you know the one image I had in my head, the Legends game?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's you. Reminiscing of the time, that amazing moment, and here we've got it for you, Hutchie.
Very embarrassing. Nothing.
Shh, got the Titanic music for you.
Different hardware opportunity for Hutchie.
Oh, he's looking to give up, Hutchie. Don't do it.
Did you back yourself to get that through?
I would think I'd get asked about that more than everything else.
I love it.
So that is going to be fantastic. He's demanded
pretending
that.
to be shocked as well.
He just happened to have that vision ready and queued up.
How embarrassed would Fitzy be?
Did you see this?
He did ran round by Hutchie.
There's
I just found my full
Skipper.
Just found my full forward.
Pretty special.
$20.
The Legends game is back. You can see it there. There's the date. All for an unbelievable cause. The 4 and 20 Legends game. Luke Hodge, Nick Riewoldt, Cyril Rioli, Gary Ablett Jr. Unfiltered tomorrow night. Must watch. Compelling interview with that man, Jeremy Howe. Goes into some extraordinary detail about his life and his adversities. The front bar also. And then Thursday night, we'll see the young Bombers taking on the Giants as they try and firm up a top 8 position. Thanks for your company tonight. We'll see you next week.
Trains are the lifeblood of Australia. And around the country, it's the job of